A Japanese man recorded imaginary stalkers, then real ones appeared.
Why was this man so hated that he would be arrested 8 times, banned from dozens of stores, and have people surround his house and tail him for months on end?
What the
Without
fuck?
exaggerating, this is the most unbelievable story I've ever covered on my channel. So, what could he have possibly done? In December of 2004, Japanese police began receiving numerous 911 calls from the same individual, most of which were completely silent.
はい、110番警察です。事件ですか、事故ですか?
Phone stinks.
Over the next year,
Your
this
phone
became
stinks.
so frequent that the caller was warned if he continued, he would be arrested, to which he replied,
できるものならやってみろ.
and over the next 24 hours, he made over 1,000 emergency calls. After that, the police did catch him, very easily in fact, and he was sentenced to 1 year and 4 months in prison.
The
You're gonna hear
dumbass.
that a lot in this video. Neighbors say the caller used to be a normal guy, but after getting dismissed from his internship at the city waterways department, he had a breakdown and started acting strangely. This was the first time his name appeared in the public record, but in this video, I'm going to call him by a pseudonym, Yoshi. After being released from prison, Yoshi continued his feud with the police. In May of 2009, Yoshi got into some trouble at a car dealership. It all started when his mechanic reached out and touched his shoulder with oily hands. Yoshi pushed him away, which started a fight that ended up with him getting, well, you guessed it,
I don't believe
arrested.
the story at all.
In jail, Yoshi tried to preserve his oil-stained clothing to prove
pretend
his
it's real.
self-defense case, but when he was released 20 days later, he failed to produce anything. Yoshi accused his lawyer of secretly washing his clothes, and now believed there was a conspiracy to get him. I mean, the police showed up at the scene suspiciously quickly, and the mechanic must have tricked Yoshi into attacking him. It all made sense now. They were gang stalkers. Everyone in the town was gang stalking him, but he was going to expose them. In June 2013, Yoshi opened a YouTube channel to document the activities of these gang stalkers under the username IUAO700.
I still don't believe it.
Most of
But
his
I'm
uploads, around
immersing.
10 minutes in length, featured Yoshi recording from his balcony or cycling around his neighborhood.
I've seen this gang stalking shit on TikTok.
Randomly filming people in Japan is rude and possibly even illegal. Plus, Yoshi's using a digital camera, so it's not surprising that he made a lot of enemies. One of the enemies he made was this construction company near his house that was installing security cameras in their parking lot. They must be spying on him.
なんで隠すの? なんで隠すの? 中見せて.
He calls the cops on them, but then... he assaults and spits
Knows
on
the
the
camera.
employee in front of the
Spits
police
on
officer
him?
that he called. So he gets arrested again. He was released after 20 days, basically the longest they can hold you without charging you, but this only intensified his crusade against the gang stalkers. Next, Yoshi noticed a strange van in his neighborhood. He went over to investigate.
いやこっちがどうしたのか聞いてるんですよ。
撮ってるんですか？
何言ってるんですかここで。
今ちょっと電話してるもんで。
あなた学校に用事があるの？
いやまあ回収があるんですけど。
He keeps asking Mr. Acid Milk the same questions over and over, and they're not making any progress, so eventually he just calls him a stalker.
お前みたいなストーカーがおるから撮ってんだよ。
僕はじゃねえだろって言うのよ。
Mr. Acid Milk calls the cops.
すいません。ちょっとね変な人に。
The local cops, who are already familiar with Yoshi, ask why he's being so aggressive and filming.
前そこで休憩してたんですよ。で今日はここで休憩してる。
They be having spit battles.
回ってきたんじゃないんかね。
不審でしょ？
不審かね。
うん不審ですよ。
The cops tell him to leave Mr. Acid Milk alone, and for once, he gets off without being arrested.
Spitting on
The
someone
next
is
gang
nasty.
stalker Yoshi targeted in his videos was the elementary school. Yes, he was feuding with an elementary school. Why? Well, I guess the kids were being too loud.
This dude live in the Truman
And
Show.
the chime was annoying.
He lives in
And
a
this is where
fucking.
things get messed
He lives
up
in a
because
Telltale
Yoshi,
game.
in protest of the elementary school gang stalking him, goes over and starts yelling and filming the students.
おい来て。うるせえんだバカ。
And then the vice principal comes over to tell him to stop.
お疲れ様でしょうか。すいません、動画撮るのやめてください。ちょっとやめてもらえませんですか？
Yoshi gets angry and the vice principal calls the cops on him. They let him go home that day, but then the next day the cops show up at his house with a search warrant and an arrest warrant.
やめて、こっち来て、ちょっと来て、ちょっとやめて、ほんでやめて、やめなさい、やめなさい、応じてくれんか、ちょっとやめてください、やめなさいって言ったの、ほらほら、はい、じゃあガスするよ、止めてくださいって言ったの、やめなさいって言ったから、やめなさいって言って、やめな
It's
さい、
all credibility loss. He said, stop filming or raiding your house.
止めて、止めて、止めれない？止めれんか？止めれない。
I don't think these officers want to be filmed. Suspiciously, during this kerfuffle, he picked up a charge for resisting arrest. Apparently, he scratched an officer. I don't know about this one, but they didn't end up prosecuting him and released him after 20 days. After this, Yoshi started to see gang stalkers everywhere. Every car that drove by was a gang stalker. Helicopters were gang stalkers. Even airplanes were gang stalkers. He was also banned from a lot of local stores for causing trouble and filming inside.
何？
あなた盗撮してますよね。YouTube にアップしてますよね。立ち入り禁止です。あなた二度と来ないでください。もう二度と来ないでください。
What's going on, DJ? What apartment is that? We pull it. No, you're not going nowhere. This is in Japan. It's a whole ocean in
But then,
between
all
you
of
and
a sudden,
Japan.
Yoshi went missing. He didn't upload for over a year. It was confusing, but the video he uploaded after he came back would explain everything. It starts off like a typical Yoshi video. He's cycling around his neighborhood and exposing the gang stalkers. But then, all of a sudden, a high school kid rings his bell and angers Yoshi. He chases the kid.
Low speed chase.
While Yoshi was fine with posting other people's faces online, he always censored his own. Eventually, he catches up to the kid and kicks him off his bike. Yoshi tries to attack while still on his bicycle, so the kid is able to dodge by just walking back and forth while calling for help on his phone. Soon, some women who heard the commotion come to help. They restrain Yoshi while waiting for the police to come, the whole while he's screaming.
助けて！集団ストーカーに襲われてます！集団ストーカーに襲われてます！集団ストーカーに襲われてます！集団ストーカーこいつら仲間です！
First off, the kid was fine, but this one was a big deal for Yoshi. The cops came, they arrested him, and this time they did prosecute. Thankfully, he recorded the evidence, so it was a pretty easy conviction, and he was sentenced to 10 months. That's why he was
Yoshi got a
missing
nice
online
little
for so
camera.
long, and when he finally got back and uploaded this video, it didn't exactly go how he thought
You're
it
doing
would.
the wrong kind
he
of
thought this video
vlogging.
made him look good. Like, he thought he was the good guy in this situation. As you can imagine, this video caught people's attention. Specifically, the way he's yelling here.
集団ストーカーに襲われてます！集団ストーカーに襲われてます！
Kind of became a meme. But his next upload would really put him on the map. But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, Displate. Displates are premium quality metal prints that mount on your wall effortlessly.
That shit ass!
Just realists into trouble.
But if Display, if y'all want to send me
As
some money,
usual, we start off on Yoshi's
no,
balcony.
I can
but
explain
then
what a
we
great
hear
product we
voices.
have. Seth changed his name to Meat Curtains. One of the better names. What's going
In
on,
between
Seth?
their growling and their grunts,
Fuck
these
going
two
on?
gentlemen are telling Yoshi, stop filming, get down here, and we're gonna beat you up. For a moment, this video almost makes me think, poor Yoshi. What could he have possibly done to make these guys so mad? But
Hold up, I
this
might
is all
use that.
Yoshi's
Use what?
fault. The reason they're
name?
mad at him is because he spat on their mom multiple times. Their dad tries to talk it over, but he quickly realizes Yoshi is a lost cause. Eventually, he gives up and just calls the cops. Yoshi dodges arrest again. And that was the end of the video. But when Yoshi clicked the upload button on this one, he didn't know how much it was going to change his life, because this thing went mega viral. The first thing people noticed is that the two young guys look exactly like the characters from the manga Space Brothers. So that became their nickname. And it didn't stop there. At this point, Yoshi's videos start getting a lot of views, and he becomes a bit of a celebrity online. As you could imagine, these viewers don't like Yoshi very much. Some of them decide to start messing with him. For a guy who's so concerned about gang stalkers, he did not protect his personal information very well. I mean, yeah, he censored his face, but he uploaded hours of footage from his balcony. He showed the front of his house. I mean, he even said the name of the elementary school. The people online didn't need to be Rainbolt to track him down. At first, they started with small pranks, signing him up to receive university pamphlets or flyers, stuff like that. Yoshi freaked out and called the cops.
書類とかって何ですか？いっぱい置かれてますけど。
名前でありますけど、違います。
で、俺の名前が書いてあるけど、俺の名前を使って注文したやつがおるんだって。
Which, of course, only escalated things. Before we continue, I'd like to make it very clear that although Yoshi's behavior has been really bad up until this point, it's obviously wrong to mess with him in real life. The reason I say that is because it gets more intense from here. The next thing the trolls started doing was giving guys on Tinder Yoshi's address and saying to come over.
なんだ。
ちょっと人に会いに来たんですけど、それで場所ここを指定されたんですけど、
誰に会いに来たの？
ちょっとネットの人で。
That's so fucked up.
でここに来たら。
Look at this dude, bro.
人が違ったってどうしてわかるんだ？
This guy's so convincing, even Yoshi's not sure he didn't invite him. Anyways, Yoshi asks the kid to show him the alcohol he brought, and then they have a peaceful parting. It wasn't long before the trolls themselves were showing up in Yoshi's neighborhood. At first, they started off by doing things like setting off fireworks or putting things on his bicycle seat, but it got out of control very quickly.
W soaps. That's what y'all need to be using, soap. Over there smelling like that, smelling like a bus seat.
What people didn't know was she was screaming.
What people don't want to know.
Gentlemen.
The masked man just stands there, showing off grocery store products. Even weirder, you'd expect Yoshi to be like, what are you doing here? But both of them just stand there in silence for an entire minute. Until...
おい、なんだお前。おい。
Bro,
Honestly,
how do you
Yoshi's
not
pretty calm and
flinch at
collected
that?
here
I would have
because that was
been,
like a jump scare
man.
to me.
Yeah.
But that's not the last.
なんだお前。
Honestly, Yoshi's pretty calm and collected here because that was like a jump scare to me.
おい。
But that's not the last we'll see of what the fans called the masked gentleman. No, he came back the next day.
Ew. Ew.
For some reason, he starts cleaning up garbage outside. Yoshi watches him do this for a while, like at least 10 minutes before he calls the cops.
家の前に覆面をした怪しいやつがいます。
わかりました。今まさにいますか？
います。
何人いますか？
一人います。お前警察来るまで待ってろよ。
今その人と今話できるような状態。
おるここにおる。目の前におるわ。なんかこいつなんか凶器持ってますよ。なんだこれ？なんか挟むやつ。
Tongs.
今カチカチやってますわこいつ。
I cannot imagine what the guy on the other end of this call is thinking. Skipping ahead 3 minutes, the cops get there, but Yoshi thinks they came a little too quickly.
おハエもう来ました。どっかに隠れてたみたいに。どっかに隠れて110番するの待ってたみたいに来ましたわ。
But Yoshi's figured out their little conspiracy. They're working together.
お前らなんで110番すると金になるんか。騒ぎを起こしてお前110番させてなんだお前ら金になるんか。
Nobody was arrested here, but things continued escalating outside Yoshi's house, so much so that he bought a security camera to capture what was going on. The first upload was on September 12th, 2016. It shows a man in the pitch black at 3 a.m. taking flash photography outside Yoshi's house. 2 weeks later, Yoshi uploaded another video from the security camera. This kid comes by and throws paper everywhere.
This check hook.
Yoshi comes out to check what the hell's going on. This is what Yoshi looks like. It's the first time he's ever appeared in one of his own videos. The kid sees that he came out and runs back. Then we cut to some footage
talking
from
about
Yoshi's
I don't know
camera.
what. Loco over here grubbing.
Everyone online thought Yoshi did a great job of standing up for himself, and that the other guy went way too far. But the guy can't leave without his shirt, so he has to come back and apologize to Yoshi to retrieve it. But the cops are already on the way. You'll never believe this, but for the first time in our story, someone aside from Yoshi gets arrested. Yeah, as you can tell, the cops were so confused by what was going on that by the time they finished the arrest, it had gotten dark. And on October 9th, there was a circus of trolls outside. But at least they stopped once the sun went down. Oh.
Bro, that'd be nah.
By now, the pressure and stress of everyone messing with him was getting to Yoshi, and he started to cause trouble in the neighborhood.
なんか言うんですか。なんで写真撮ってるんですか。なんで写真撮ってるんですか。なんで写真撮ってるんですか。撮らなくていいですか。
やめてくれ。
やめてください。あなたこそやめてください。あなたこそやめてください。撮らないでください。なんか写真撮らないでください。あなたこそやめてください。勝手に撮らないでくださいよ。撮らないでくださいよ。ちょっと写真撮らって勝手に撮らないと困るんで。
Yoshi had finally met his match. But the trolls weren't getting bored. In fact, they were only getting more elaborate. At 5 a.m. on October 25th, one of them placed a cardboard box outside of Yoshi's house. 4 hours later, Yoshi walked out to get his mail. And guess who was inside?
Oh my god. This shit is stupid.
Not only were the pranks getting more elaborate, they were also getting more dangerous. On October 30th, these guys were adjusting a flag they put up at Yoshi's house, which pissed him off, so he ran out and charged at them. He pushed the ladder over. It's pretty brutal, but in a stroke of luck, the guy was actually completely fine. He got knocked down, got up, and then continued messing with Yoshi outside his house for the rest of the day, like many more hours outside.
Idiot.
Not 2 weeks later, someone uploaded a video of themselves dancing outside Yoshi's house in an anime cosplay.
Three people.
The trolls had clearly escalated things too far, from harmless pranks all the way up to actual stalking. Yoshi's legacy is going from the guy who imagined he was being gang stalked.
This guy was posting YouTube videos saying he's being stalked, and now all these people, like, they got views. All these people are actually messing with him. The people he originally was filming saying that were stalking him weren't actually stalking him. This guy's just, like, probably a little schizophrenic or some shit like that. And now these people online are bringing it to real life.
You wouldn't believe this, but in that house of chaos,
some movie ass scenes, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Their health started to decline.
I don't know what's real and what's fake.
A few months prior, Yoshi's father slipped on their bathroom tiles and never fully recovered. In late 2016, he was hospitalized for pneumonia, and several weeks later, on January 3rd, 2017, he passed away. Yoshi never went to visit his father in the hospital because he was too paranoid about the gang stalkers, and he had his own theories about what happened. According to Yoshi, the slippery tiles that he tripped on, the gang stalkers did that. The pneumonia? Well, the gang stalkers did that too. Even the hospital employees were gang stalkers. Their drugs were poisoned. Obviously, none of that is true, but trolls messing with him 24/7 was not helping his mental state. These trolls were now in every part of his life. One of them had even gone and visited his dad in the hospital. Because things had gotten so bad, Yoshi's mom gave him an ultimatum. If he didn't stop using the internet by the end of March 2017, she would have him institutionalized. She even signed a document that would allow this. So Yoshi had no choice. He stopped uploading. For 6 months, there was no sign of him, but on September 19th, 2017, everything changed. One of Yoshi's neighbors was walking by when he noticed something peculiar that made him stop in his tracks. It was Yoshi's mom laying outside the door. He called for an ambulance, but the person on the other end of the line was a little bit suspicious because it was Yoshi's address. He also alerted the neighbors, the Space Brothers' house, and they all went to help. An ambulance arrived 10 minutes later. Where was Yoshi? Well, it didn't take police long to find him. He was in his room, watching the security cameras the whole time. He didn't get up to help. They placed him under arrest, but he refused to cooperate, so they had to carry him out. His mom didn't make it, But Yoshi didn't do it. They cleared him and sent him home that evening. The reason we have this footage is because, well, with his mom gone, he was able to get back on the internet and post it with absolutely zero sympathy for his mother, just complaining about how the cops treated him. I know it.
His mom was poisoned. They accused him of beating his mother. Damn.
It's hard to sympathize with Yoshi after everything he's done, but he's still a victim in this story. The person he hurt the most with his actions is himself.
The former president is a threat.
Man, Yoshi got all kinds of shit outside his house. I'm not worried about that right now.
After the stuff
it's
with his
bigger
mom,
things affecting the world.
For a while. But in mid-2018, Yoshi disappeared again. The trolls looked everywhere for him. People who went by his house reported it was empty. Eventually, one of the trolls just went inside. The door was unlocked. The inside of Yoshi's house was a mess. More disturbingly, there were signs of a struggle, like Yoshi had been taken away. The truth is, Yoshi had gotten into a fight while handing out his gang stalker pamphlets and assaulted someone. He was arrested, held for 22 days, and then institutionalized. He was released 6 months later, but his bad luck didn't end there. In June 2019, his YouTube account was banned for copyright violations. It's unclear why this happened, but it might have had something to do with trolls following him around and playing copyrighted music. Worse, 3 days after his ban, Yoshi was hit by a truck while cycling around his neighborhood. He suffered broken ribs, a punctured lung, fractures in his shoulder, lower back, hips, and more. He was injured all over. But he didn't trust the hospital workers. He thought they were with the gang stalkers. So he refused treatment and went home. Adding insult to injury, Yoshi's internet had been disconnected for non-payment, and by the end of the year, he also lost his water and electricity. Yoshi's obsession with gang stalkers had now cost him everything. Surprisingly, help came to Yoshi from the last place you'd expect, the internet. In 2020, as live streaming became a thing in Japan, people wanted to go and meet Yoshi for content. The only good thing was, it's pretty bad to go and mess with someone who's already in so much trouble, so they went to help him. The first live streamer who went to meet him was Natural9, and he was the first person to ever successfully speak with Yoshi, a lot different from the people who would just yell at him through his window. The first day they met, Natural9 took Yoshi to City Hall to help him apply for welfare benefits. Then, the next day, he took Yoshi to get his utilities turned back on. But they were unsuccessful because the outstanding balance was so high. They went out for sushi on the way home, and Yoshi opened up about his personal life. He said that when he was young, he used to think he was a genius, and that he's afraid of death. Natural9 had successfully befriended Yoshi, and they streamed together many times. Unfortunately, this relationship was not to last. One day, coming home from dinner, Natural9 went to take off his Crocs as he went in Yoshi's house, and Yoshi was like, "Nah, you don't have to take them off." But right after they got inside, that was it. Their friendship was over. Regardless, a few days later, Natural9 went back to apologize and gave Yoshi $140. Plus, his viewers were donating too, so Yoshi got like $600 that day. Natural9 no longer streams, but apparently he still brings Yoshi food here and there. 2 other live streamers went to meet Yoshi as well. This Yosun guy also showed up with like $100 for Yoshi. I guess that was the new standard. If you wanted him on your stream, you had to donate him $100. They ended up going out for dinner and spending 5 hours talking. During this conversation, Yoshi confessed that he was stealing fruit from local farmers in the middle of the night. Finally, this Ito guy hung out with Yoshi for a day, donated the standard $100, and they spent 3 hours going to different restaurants together. Yoshi explained that another live streamer named Kobayashi had paid off all his bills, his water, his electricity, and his gas, so his life had improved significantly. He also revealed that he had no idea about the pandemic. Pretty ironic coming from Yoshi, who had been wearing a mask since 2013 because he didn't want to be seen by gang stalkers. He also said that his neighbors, the Space Brothers family, had moved away, and that a Vietnamese family had moved in, and they were opening up a restaurant.
Really edited this shit.
The Space Brothers had to heavily discount their house to get it to sell, and the Vietnamese family probably didn't know why it was so cheap until after they moved in. It did not take long for trouble to start. The Vietnamese family complained that Yoshi was banging on the walls and making noise all the time, and Yoshi complained that they were doing karaoke at 2 a.m. Things spiraled out of control in May of 2022 when Yoshi smashed the window of the Vietnamese family's car, which got the police involved. Yoshi was live streaming at the time that they came. Yoshi was arrested again. The footage you're seeing is actually uploaded by the Vietnamese family. He was in jail for just under a year. He got out in April 2023, and by that time, the Vietnamese family had already moved away. He laid low for 5 months, then returned to the internet in September. And now we're all caught up to the present. Yoshi streams every day from his phone. He covers stuff like gang stalkers and how to prevent them, social ostracism. Amazon is gang stalking me by delivering all my packages. The Sun is gang stalking. The police chief is a gang stalker. People are still stalking my dad's great.
Yo!
So I covered all that stuff in part 2. And believe me, there are so many more interesting Yoshi stories that I couldn't fit in this one. Part 2 is available for free on my Patreon. Yes, that's right, it's free. You don't have to pay. Just click the link in the description. Thanks to my patrons who make all this stuff possible. And thanks to you for watching until the end. Consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you very much.